What is up, Flowmies? It's time for another edition of the ITF Flowcast. So we have an awesome episode for you today. We are interviewing Louis Vandervalk. He's a lot of things. He's an entrepreneur. He's a business owner. He's an author. He hosts a podcast. But he's the owner of Blue Crocus Solutions, which is a digital marketing company providing website design, SEO, Google ad services, that type of thing. We're going to talk to him a little bit about his entrepreneurial journey, the things that he had to go through to get where he's at. Really, really fascinating story. But the meat of this interview are the tips that he gives to help you become visible on Google. He just offers some really sound advice, some things that I know we implemented in our company almost right away. It's just really good information. So please listen in, especially if you're a small business owner who can't really afford to hire the big guys to get you visible there. You're gonna really want to take notes on the things that you're gonna learn in this interview. So let's listen in. Hey, Flowmies, we are here with Louis Vandervalk. Thank you so much for joining us, Louis. You are done a ton of things. So first and foremost, you're an entrepreneur, but you're also an author. And also have collaborated on some books, some entrepreneur books that I recommend. The Greatest Lessons I Learned from Being an Entrepreneur, Volume 1, Volume 2. You had a part in writing some of that, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, Louis also has a company that works with website and SEO management, and you also have a junk moving, like a what would you call it? Like a junk
Removal.
junk
Yeah.
removal company.
Yeah.
Very cool. So kind of like Mike Schneider, who's a cool Flowmie. We call each other Flowmies, just so you know. That's what we
I love it. I
in our
love it.
group. Yeah.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us a little bit, Louis, about your background? I know you had started off with kind of the idea of being like a mechanical engineer, right? And you kind of made some decisions, and all of a sudden you're an entrepreneur. So why don't you fill us in a little bit on your backstory?
Yeah, for sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. You mentioned Mike there, a fellow flow me, and just appreciate him connecting us. So shout out Mike, because I put the call out saying, hey, I'm looking to add some value. And he was like, oh, you got to talk to Gabe. Gabe is amazing. He's got this awesome group and everything. So glad that we can get connected there. So I'm in New Brunswick, Canada. I was born in New Hampshire. And we moved up when I was 3. So I'm actually dual citizen, which makes it fun for taxes.
Yeah.
But I've got the Canadian accent, coming through a little bit here because I grew up here, right? Mm-hmm. So I did out of high school. I didn't know what I was going to do. No one in my family had gone to university. I didn't want to carry on in the family business, which was a giant greenhouse business shipping like small plants all over North America.
Wow.
So I grew up doing that. I grew up in the construction world as that business expanded, doing a lot of the building for different expansions, installing a pool on the property, doing a bunch of different things like that. Did some roofing for a summer. But I kind of got my feet wet in the contracting trades, and I said, this is fun. I'm getting paid to work out. All my friends are paying to go to the gym or spending time after work going to the gym. And I'm just hauling shingles up on a roof or putting in a pool or doing fencing. So let's do that. So I did that for 4 years after high school. And I quickly saw, there's in the construction trades, especially where I was working and what I was doing, I said, this is really hard on the body. This is, I think my brain has some more capacity than just doing this. It was really good as a young person. I could work lots of extra hours. I could pay off, car, all that fun stuff, right? But I said, there's got to be more. I want to start a family eventually. What can I do? So my cousin had gone to do computer science at the university close to here. University is like the Canadian version of college for the Americans. And so he's like, hey, you like fixing things, you like building things, you like science, do mechanical engineering. So I did. I applied for mechanical engineering, got in. I had one extra credit I had to do before I got in. Got in, did the degree. Throughout the degree, I worked, designing parts and apparatus for people who were paralyzed to be able to drive cars. Super fun, super rewarding. I got to actually talk to people like, for example, building like orthotics. We would like take the measurements. Like one guy, he was paralyzed and he was missing part of his arm.
Wow.
So we had the hand controls. Like the company I worked for had hand controls to operate the vehicle with just your hands, right? So you've got push for brake and pull for acceleration, and then you steer with the other hand. Well, this guy didn't even. He only had one functioning hand, and just part of his other arm. So he sent us measurements at different points on his arm. We designed and 3D printed a socket basically to go on so he could like connect to the thing. Super fun, super rewarding. I did that all through university. Worked full-time in the summer, part-time in the school year, paid my way through school, paid for our marriage, our wedding in 2017, graduated, started working full-time at this place. And then our son was born 3 months later. So in June of 2019. And I was like, man, this is cool. I've got the career, I've got the family starting, the marriage. But I soon realized like I was going to work before he was getting up, and I was coming back, after, barely seeing him. And I was like, man, if we want 4 kids, our 4th is on the way now. I can actually talk about it now in public because we just announced it. This is going to be crazy. How am I ever going to, make time for the family? So I started looking at different ways to, make money in my spare time. And I came across digital marketing, and basically I started the business like a month after I started looking. I said, this combines my love of contracting, because I love the construction trades. It just wasn't a fit for me, long-term as a career, but it kind of brought it back full circle. I could work with people in the trades, the home service industries, and I could learn a new skill, and I could, be a little bit more flexible. And that's how it started. I got going in 2019, went full-time in doing the digital marketing in 2020. And haven't looked back, man. We're building and we're growing and making things happen. And then, from those skills in 2021, we saw an opening here locally, and we're like, hey, let's go for it. I actually had a junk removal company locally reach out to me and say, hey, what would it look like for you to come on? I quoted him something. He's like, that's ridiculous. I think I'm just going to keep doing it myself. And then we looked at junk removal like a year before as an industry. And then it kind of brought it back, and we're like, hey, maybe there's something here. We looked at it and we're like, this is going to be too easy. So we started it up. It was like a month from, I think, the idea to launching was about a month. We had the idea in May, and we did our first job middle of June. So I bought the truck, bought the trailer. Insurance was the hardest part of the whole process, getting insurance. There was only one provider here locally that did it. And then, built the website out, and start going to Facebook groups. We can talk about a few of the different ways we did get jobs at the beginning. I think it applies to all industries, the hustle there. And then we just started going crazy. We started partnering with our community kitchen. We sponsored a marathon here locally. Got on the radio, got connections in there, got in a couple articles written about us. I went crazy with it because I was like, now I can do all the things I want my clients to be doing outside of SEO, and I can say, hey guys, this works. You got to just go do it.
Well, I think that's the coolest part about it, is it's almost like you're making money for yourself by starting this business, but you're actually advertising for your first company, because you're saying, I believe in what I'm doing, and look at I'm willing to put my own money in this business to stake that claim on my skills as a SEO and website person. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and we got to try different things, and that really launched us into the junk removal industry, because we were like, this is it's a lucrative business. It's not hard to stand out above your competitors in this industry, like many of the home service industries, really. And so it was a lot of fun, and we can talk here. I want to definitely bring some value to people about some of the stuff we did, but that's kind of the journey to where we are today. And now junk removal is our biggest niche. We have a couple solar panel cleaner clients, a window cleaning client, but it's the home service industry. The niche is in general, there's specifics within each niche. We're all kind of doing the same stuff, for our particular thing.
Right. Oh, very cool. I love it. Yeah, I think this is probably a good way to get into that particular discussion with SEO, and like you said, you did other things aside just from your website marketing that were smart. So maybe you can share some things that single owner operator, or maybe a guy has 2 or 3 people on the crew and doesn't have a huge budget for marketing. What are some things they can do, like you said, where they can just, with a little bit of hustle, be able to bring some value back to their company?
Yeah. And I love that you said that. Guys that don't have a ton of money, you shouldn't be signing up with an agency like us. You've got to the more you can build your brand, the more you can build your community impact, the more you can build your social media and everything, the easier it's going to be when you eventually sign up with someone like us. But the more you're going to have a foundation, so that you're not leaning totally on SEO. Because SEO was not the only thing that got us going. In fact, that took some time to build. It was all the other stuff that we were doing that got us moving out of the gate, and then SEO comes along and supplements it. But if you're counting on SEO or you're counting on ads for your business, you're leaving a lot of money on the table, and you're also putting yourself in a very vulnerable position. It's do you want to be an order taker at a restaurant, or do you want to be out hunting and gathering? You got to be out hunting and gathering as a business owner.
Yes, that's a good way to put it, for sure.
So yeah, so some of the stuff that we did, very first thing that I did when we were like, okay, we're going for it. I started going into all the local buy and sell Facebook groups. All the local buy and sell Facebook groups, and I'd look for I would do a search in the group for junk removal. I would just search for, need junk removed or removal. Any of those posts, whether they were 10 years ago or 5 years ago, I just took the link to that post and I put them all on a spreadsheet. And then I would just start going through and commenting on a couple of them a day. And what happens when you comment on a post, even if it's from a year ago, when you comment on it, it bumps it back up to the top of the feed. And so if someone's saying, hey, I need my fridge removed, maybe they got it taken care of, but you jump in and be like, if anybody else is looking for something, we'd love to help out.
That's a really good idea.
But don't do it all at once, because then it's just you spamming all the posts.
They have a wall of junk remover posts.
Yeah. So that's why I took down the links. I did one, bash of a couple hours just going through all the different posts, and then I just spread it out over the next month, go in every couple of days and comment on a few posts, pop it back to the top, and then the conversation would start under those posts. You'd respond to notifications or whatever.
Okay.
Super powerful way to do it. Then as soon as you start doing jobs, this applies. Window cleaning is a great example of this. Solar panel cleaning is a great example. If you can take videos of every job you do, time-lapse videos, people love those.
Yes.
Like window cleaning is a fun one, especially if you've got a really dirty window. Even just the action of window cleaning happening is a fun one to watch in time-lapse. You've got the soap suds on there, and then they all get cleaned off like in hyperspeed. Like, who doesn't like that, right? Now you've got shorts, you've got reels. That wasn't so big when we started in 21.
Yeah.
But take time-lapse of every single job you do. Put them on YouTube. This is a very underrated SEO tool. Google owns YouTube. So if you can put your videos on there, in the title, be like best window cleaning in, Tempe, Arizona, right? Best solar panel cleaning, put those words in the title of your video, talk a little bit about your video, link back to your website if you have one at the time, link back to your Google business listing on the YouTube video. Now all these Google properties are talking to each other. The Google business listing is being linked from the YouTube video, is being linked back to the website. If you've got a website, you can embed that YouTube video on there.
Wow.
And this is all really good SEO stuff. So take videos of jobs. One of the things that I had a lot of fun with when we got going was I was thinking about, Facebook giveaways. I wanted to do Facebook giveaways. I wanted to get our name out there, build up our Facebook page, follower account, right? So I was thinking, what's something that everybody likes? Food. I see people giving away Yeti coolers full of fishing gear, and it's like that only appeals to the guys, and guys aren't really the most active people on social media.
That's true.
And guys aren't my ideal client as a junk removal business or a window cleaning or a solar panel business.
Yes, that's true.
Women are.
Yes. Women
are our ideal client. They want the windows cleaned. They're the one that's going to be nagging their husband. Maybe the husband's going to be the one that jumps on at 2 a.m. in the morning because he's sitting on the couch and he hasn't gotten the windows cleaned.
Right.
So I said, okay, food is a big one. Women are our ideal client. And how do I do this for free? So I went and I said, okay, let's just get restaurant gift cards and we'll give away restaurant gift cards. But I went a step further and I went and I scraped a list of emails for the restaurants here locally. And then I sent out like a 2-step email and said, hey, we're going to be doing giveaways. I'll do the posts. I'll tag your company. I'll, promote the whole thing. I'll, have your brand there if you provide me with a gift card.
I love that idea.
Right. So I went to the people, because there's here in the local area, there's like some really iconic restaurants. I hit them hardest and most personably, to say, hey, there was a custom cupcake shop that everybody loves. So I went to him and I said, Jonathan, I would love to do this. Can we make something happen? He gave me a gift card. We did the giveaway. We tagged them. They get the exposure. We get the exposure because we're kind of using their branding mixed with our branding. It was a blast. We did one every 2 weeks. So we did it every 2 weeks. We let people know every giveaway that there's going to be another one in 2 weeks. So then they feel more like there's a chance of them winning.
Yeah.
And so they keep coming back and they keep engaging and being like, hey, when's the next giveaway? Maybe I'm going to win.
Well, I'm implementing that immediately. I'm gonna send this little part. We have a social media manager. She's just
Yeah.
a high school kid and just really great. I mean, just awesome. And she's always looking for ideas. So that I love that. That is really, really smart. Because we're big in cross promotion as well, towards
Mhm.
other, and like you said, especially the iconic places in town, we want that's our history, that's our
Ride on their coattails
community.
too, right?
Yeah, exactly. We could get connected with them, then that's kind of, we carry those good feelings with us, to the consumer. But then that's an extra step of getting them involved. They're now essentially sponsoring
Mhm.
my page, because now they're getting promotion, but then we're also getting, like you said, that connection with them. That's a great idea. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun, and it made you feel very included in the community too. It's
Mhm,
like, hey,
mhm,
these people care about us. You want to present yourself well. You want to present yourself as someone they want to, connect their brand with.
mhm,
But yeah, that was a blast. The other thing that I didn't end up doing because we just got so busy, so fast, but I saw this idea from a local tourism, a town a couple hours away did this with their tourism board. They basically did a scavenger hunt. So I was going to do this. We got a little bit busy and I never ended up doing it, but we have a walking trail system here in town.
mhm.
And so I was basically going to do a 12 step, like 12 posters. I'd get a company to sponsor doing the yard sign, the yard sign posters. I would get a company on each yard sign, be like, hey, this one's sponsored by this company. And then I was going to have like a grand prize of like, we have a local tap house that's really, really popular. And everybody knows pickaroons. So that's another idea, but different ideas of ways that you can connect to the community with something like that. Everybody on the walking trails is going to see all of your brands as they go walking by. You're going to have this social media buzz because the idea was, you take a picture, you tag all these companies, and then you post up the 12 pictures that you took for a chance to win the grand prize. So different ideas like that. There's so many. I hope people's minds are turning too, because that's what I had the most fun with. Was
Mhm.
thinking about what are all the different ways that I can do this. How can I spin this? Um, Another thing that we did, and this was specifically for junk removal, but there are ways that you can do this as well for your business. Every business has an opportunity to donate time or services or
Mhm.
something like that. We jumped in with a community kitchen and we said, hey, if we can spend some time picking up goods from around town, picking up pallets, whatever, we've got a trailer, we've got the muscles. Can we do that? And then what we're going to do is we're going to provide you an article on your page or like an article that you can post on your website to link back to our website.
Mhm.
Really, really powerful for SEO, to have other websites linking back to yours because Google sees that as a vote of confidence.
Mhm.
Basically, like voting in the prom queen or prom king. The more people that vote for that one person, the better chance of them winning. So the more websites you have, especially local websites, linking back to yours, the more Google sees that authority. So that's what we did. We helped them out. We wrote an article. They added their little bits in it, and then basically the theme of the article was, if you need donations picked up, call us. And we take donations. We wrote it in their voice, but hey, as a communication, we take all these things, all these donations. If you need something heavy brought to our spot,
Mhm.
reach out to Integrity Junk Removal. So that was the way that we got local backlinks. That's what it's called when someone links back to you.
Mhm.
The other thing is go to all your friends and associates in business and say, hey, can we have a link back from your website? Can I link to your website? Can you link back to mine?
So
I sponsor. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so what's involved with that? So those of us who are not techies, we don't really do a lot of website stuff. We could, we and I've heard the term backlink, and I understand kind of the basic idea of it, but what would be involved with that? So let's say there's a landscaping company, and I'm friends with the owner. We have similar clientele, right? The same people we're marketing to. What is that conversation like, and how do we accomplish that backlink exchange?
Yep. So here's an example. I have a friend who does graphic design here locally.
Mhm.
I reached out to him. I said, hey, would you mind putting me on your site as a business that we partner with? Because he had a page for that already on his website, businesses that we support or businesses that we partner with. And he said, yeah, do you mind donating he was doing a bike for MS,
Mm.
like a fundraiser. He said, do you mind donating $100 to this? And I'll pop it up there. So I did. I was like, yeah, absolutely. And by the way, $100 for a good backlink is quite
That's
cheap.
worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's gonna help your site a lot. So that's an idea. If you've got a landscaper friend that has a website that does good work, you want to be associated with, reach out to them and say, there's a couple ways you could do it. You could just get them to link out from you, like somewhere in their site, hey, if you need window cleaning as well to go with your landscaping, this is who we recommend, and they link to your website. That's one way to do it. Just tie it into their content that way. They could have a page of businesses we support, and they could put your logo there and your name and link out to you. Or especially, this works especially well, if it's your landscaper friend, or if it's your chemical supplier company or your equipment supplier company. You say, hey, Gabe here with XYZ window cleaning. I want to give back to you, and I'm gonna ask something in return. But I'm gonna shoot a video testimonial. Be like, it's incredible working with XYZ window cleaning chemical company. This is why you should work with them. This is the experience we've had. Here's a video you can use. You can put it on YouTube. You can put it on your website. And do you mind just like linking back to our website from there? So you're giving them some value, which I always try and, I want to lead with value because I think that reciprocity is a big thing. And then, they're like, oh, absolutely. Yeah, I can do that. And then it makes sense too, because like they have the little testimonial video on their site, and it's like Gabe with XYZ window cleaning. And it's not a weird forced thing that they're like trying to fit in somewhere.
So in that case, so like for instance, if we had just added an extra page on our site that was, like you said, business partners in our community that we support or whatever, and then we could just have links to their websites underneath. Is that suitable, or does it have to be on your main page, or how does that work?
No, that's fine. Typically links from the main page have the most power, but any, at this point, beggars can't be choosers, right? So let's get something that makes sense for people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like I got the idea, I come from the SEO world, so I knew backlinks were good, but then as I was diving into it here locally, I was like, this is an untapped thing. I saw a realtor who had this here locally, and she had a whole, basically a directory of all the businesses she supported. And I was like, man. So I reached out to her. She linked back to us. And then I was like, we should do this for our clients. So we've started doing that for our clients and recommending it. But yeah, just have a list, be like, window cleaning, landscaping, towing, ice cream shop, whatever the case may be of people that you want to associate with. Yeah.
Right.
And it doesn't have to just be people in your industry, right? Like you mentioned, the landscaper is a good one. It could be an ice cream shop. It could be
restaurants.
Exactly.
Realtors. Yeah, definitely. Because
a restaurant with a great testimonial video, maybe you chowing down on a hamburger. Put that on their website, right? And then they're gonna be. It's like a community support. They get the warm and fuzzies by helping you, and
That's great. That's awesome. Good stuff. Now, you did a lot, like you mentioned, with going into these Facebook groups. So here's the biggest challenge I have, or not Facebook groups, but like, I guess because
buy and sell group.
Craigslist is like the new, or Facebook is the new Craigslist, right? We used to do everything on Craigslist when we buy, but now there's like Facebook Marketplace, and there's a lot of those groups, like you said, the buy sell groups. So the issue I know what I run into, and I'm sure a lot of window cleaners do, is our clientele typically are going to be higher end, right? They're not going to generally, and some will be for sure. But when I did advertising in a lot of these for sale sites, I didn't always get at least my ideal customer who I was looking for. There were people looking for deals. They were looking for, they wanted discounts. They wanted, can you do, so what if you do just these windows on our house? We're wanting to come in, and if we're going to drive out there, we want to do all the windows. We don't want to just kind of do 5 or 6 windows because they're trying to keep it under a certain budget. Do you have any recommendations for how to use those groups in a way where you can't, obviously we can't perfectly target like we would in a Facebook ad, but can we increase the odds that we're going to run into our ideal customer in those particular groups?
I think there's a few things. We don't do Facebook groups a ton now, because when you start, you've got more time than money typically.
Sure, yeah.
So it's okay if you're talking to 10 people and getting one job out of it.
Right.
So I think you have to keep in mind the people that are on buy and sell groups, they're typically the people that are looking for a deal on everything that they're doing. You look at the marketplace conversations, it's, hey, you've got it listed for 100. Can I have it for 20?
Exactly.
So I think your ideal client probably isn't, the majority of people are not going to be your ideal client, but the more conversations you can start and the more you can start getting known, it's eventually going to seep out into someone who saw you in the group and they're at a party with their friend and they're like, oh, you need your windows cleaned, call Gabe, kind of thing. So I don't think it's the ideal long-term strategy.
Mhm.
But I think one of the ways you can set yourself apart is, work on some branding in the groups. If you're posting,
Okay.
post with like a branded picture of you, and then give some tips. Like, hey, here's something that you didn't know. Maybe you didn't know that window cleaning actually extends the life of your window or increases the value of your home by X amount when you're selling. These are
Mhm.
value posts that you can do without an ask, like a
Got it.
sell. Yeah.
Got it. That makes sense. Very cool. Now, did you ever use anything, any other like third party kind of board from like Yelp or Nextdoor? I know a lot of window cleaners do really well with Nextdoor, and I just have not figured out the secret how to effectively use Nextdoor. Obviously in my neighborhood are not my ideal clients. They're in other neighborhoods, and I get referrals from them. I get people who call me us and say, I found you on Nextdoor, someone recommends you on Nextdoor, but I don't know how to be more efficient on sites like that. So, I mean, what are your recommendations?
So Nextdoor was in its infancy here. Like it was definitely more popular in the States. It wasn't really super effective. I made an account.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I recommend making an account on everything when you
Yes.
start.
Yeah,
So
we do.
Facebook, Google Business Listing, LinkedIn. That's a great one, especially for window cleaners if you're
Yes.
connecting with realtors, etc.
Yes.
Bark.com, bark like the dog. All of
Never
these
heard of that.
places. Yeah, Bark is a great one. Yelp, all of these places, Better Business Bureau, Yellow Pages,
Mm-hmm.
make accounts with all of them because at the least, the very least, they're going to be a great backlink to your
Mm-hmm.
business. Better Business Bureau is a really powerful website, but
Yes.
if it's linking back to your website, even if you're not paying them the $600 a year that they want you to be paying, it's still there linking back to you. So I recommend doing that. We use Facebook. We have a version of Craigslist called Kijiji up here in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
We would post on there regularly. Um, we filled out our Yelp profile. There was a 3 best rated as well
Yes.
here locally.
I literally just got a referral from them like 2 days ago in email, and I'm like, I don't even know what this is.
Yeah.
But someone found me on it, and
Yeah,
they got
so
a
I
quote.
looked for everything like that locally. The 10 best window cleaners, the 10 best junk removal companies, 3 best all of that. I tried to get on everything that was possible in our local area like that. I
Mhm.
tried to well, I'll stand on the subject that you asked there. Like, what are the different things? I filled out all of them. We didn't get a ton of jobs from them, but we got a lot of SEO value from having them.
Got it. Got
Yeah.
it. Very good. Okay, cool. Is there anything that you like someone starting a new business, let's because we get a lot of window cleaners who've worked for other companies, and that's the thing about window cleaning. Once you get to a certain skill level, the business part isn't super hard to start up. You don't need a lot of overhead. A lot of people can get started. I usually have a few tips that I tell people to do when they first start up to get their online presence kind of notice. What do you recommend for a new owner operator? They're just starting out. What's the best thing they can do to, not a lot of money, but they can get on the have the best chance to start increasing their Google presence as soon as possible.
Yeah. So I would recommend really, like, if you're not looking to spend any money, at a minimum buy a domain and start a branded email.
Yeah.
It's a little bit counterintuitive, but the domain, the longer you own it, I would attach a simple website to it, even just a simple website through the Google Business Listing.
Yeah.
Because the longer your domain is active and has a website attached to it, the more age is one of the things that Google looks at with the domain authority. So that's good. And then having a branded email, it just puts you in a level of authority that, XYZ window cleaner at gmail.com doesn't have. And then when you want to make that move a year down the road because you want to be more professional, you've spent maybe $7 a month on the branded email with Google. Like, just do this through Google Workspace.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to now transfer all your emails over from that gmail.com email.
Yeah,
So I would do that. I would get a Google Business Listing, Facebook page, LinkedIn page, all those things that we've kind of talked about.
yes.
But I wouldn't necessarily go hire out for a fancy website. GoDaddy, I don't recommend it in the long term for SEO, but GoDaddy, you can build a simple website through there, attach it to your domain, and kind of give people a place where they can call you. They can reach out on your contact form. And it's just, it's a place for you to showcase a little bit about what you do, where you are, all that stuff.
One of the things I get a lot when I do talk with some of these newer people, I get a lot of pushback when I recommend starting a website because I tell them the same exact thing. I say, look, it doesn't have to be fancy. You just need a landing page. Keep it simple, keep it clean, make it look professional. Have your logo, have it consistent, but just you don't have to drop a whole lot of money on it. Just get one. And like you said, get it connected to a Google My Business page, right? I don't know what they call it now because it got moved.
Yeah, it's always changing. Yeah.
But and I get a lot of pushback, especially from the younger guys, because they're like, you don't need a website. No one uses a website more. I have my Facebook, I have my Instagram, I have TikTok, whatever. I get enough business from them. What's your advice if you were to hear someone kind of give you that feedback? What would you tell them as far as it benefiting their company having a website?
I think the thing that hits me, just right off the top of my head, I've never thought of it this way actually, but you kind of talked about you came at it from an angle of social media is phenomenal. You can get tons of leads off it. I completely agree. I've done it. But you don't own the social media platform. You don't necessarily own your website and it's ranking on Google, but you do own you're renting the domain. You own it for the all intents and purposes. You own your website. And your website is one thing that you can grow over time. Social media, you can grow over time too. The social media platforms come and go.
Yeah.
I think right now, for the longevity of your business, you've got to at least have something on a website. And then again, it's another thing that you can link out to from your social media. Maybe people want to see one place where you collect all your pictures. They have your social feed, they have all the videos, but maybe they want to go over and see, oh, they have a list of all these services that they provide. This is the areas that they service. And I just want to get a quote for them. I don't want to message them on Facebook. I just want to shoot them an email, or I want to call them. The older generation is typically in window cleaning and junk removal, the better customers anyway. So you want to cater to them too. Nothing against social media. I am a huge fan of it, but I'm a fan of covering all your bases, every possible.
Yeah, and I'm glad you worded it that way, cover all your bases, because that's also a conversation that I have with people who they're like, oh, what do you worry about getting Google reviews? You don't need that. Get referrals. Have your customers refer you. That's the best referral. And I'm always like, yeah, it's really good. How about we get all of them? How about we do everything? Because why just because you do excel in one area doesn't mean that you have to reject the other one, right? You don't have to just give all of your attention to one, spread it out. And it's not like it's that much more work to, like you said, put a few pictures and videos on your social media that you can put on all of them at the same time, and there's apps that do that.
There's apps that plan. There's also, we didn't cover this yet, but get a Bing listing, get an Apple business listing. Those are Apple business listing, I think, is becoming a lot more important.
Could you talk a little bit about that? Because I think we all think we're on Google and that's all we need, and we don't have to worry about it. Why is Bing and why is Apple, why are those important?
So people use those search platforms. If you're searching on Apple Maps, your Google business listing isn't going to show up, right? So you want to have, it's all your bases again. Every possible place that you can be, you should be. And most of them are free, right? You can advertise through these different platforms, but to start out, they're all free. And so why wouldn't you have it? It's another link back to your website. It's another place where Google can see your name, address, phone number, and any of these listings can see it. And so you just build this authority online that comes up. To your point of reviews, get reviews across all platforms, at least a few, but get video reviews too. So even if clients are leaving Google reviews, I like to take snapshots of my reviews when they come in, because then you can use them in advertising and pictures on social media. Then you have them if your reviews ever get taken down or you lose that platform. But video reviews, you can't fake video reviews. You can buy Google reviews now. I highly recommend against it because it can really hurt your listing.
Yes.
But a video review with a client is an awful hard thing to fake. So if you can get that with a client, get them to leave a Google review, just be like, hey, Mrs. Smith, we're here finishing the job. How was it? What was some things that went well? Some clients will leave a review of them just doing the selfie video, but typically if you can just have a quick conversation with a client, holding the phone, having both of you in the frame, doesn't have to be fancy, but it's pretty hard to replicate that or fake that.
So when you say a video review, are you talking about something that you would then post on your social media, or is this somehow attached to your Google reviews?
It's not attached to your Google reviews. I would post them on social media. I would post them on YouTube and embed them back on your website. It's another thing that you can rank your YouTube videos. And then you own that. You own that asset. You can carry that video file around wherever you go.
Wonderful. Very good. Good. Great advice, man. Thank you so much. Anything else SEO website wise that you would think is something that maybe some small businesses miss or could be taken advantage of, but they don't?
Yeah, I think with websites, as you go from like, hey, just having something basic to, hey, now let's turn this into a lead generating machine, people miss talking about what they do and where they do it. They talk about the fact that they do window cleaning and they do window cleaning and they do window cleaning. But they don't talk about the fact that they do window cleaning in this area. We serve this city. We are the best window cleaner
Oh,
in this area.
you are so right. Oh my goodness. Go keep going. I'll tell you a little story.
Yeah, yeah. So Google doesn't know where your website is. You're like, I can build a website here in Canada from my office here in Canada, and I can rank it in Houston, Texas. If I tell Google that's what I'm looking to do, right? So you want to tell Google, like in your title tags, which is like the little bar at the top where it's got a little summary of your website. That's your title tag. You want that to say best window cleaner in XYZ location. Your hero section on your website, when people come in, say, we're here to serve you, the residents of XYZ location, with the best window cleaning solution. Talk about that all through your content, and then build out content. We'll get to, I won't go on too long here, but with your content, on top of saying what you do and where you do it, answer people's questions and have little sections on your website that's like, how do I choose the best window cleaner? Because people are searching for that exact thing, right?
Yeah.
So Google wants your site to answer questions. So you can search for commonly asked questions in window cleaning. You can actually, there's a people often asked section in the Google search results often. And you can kind of scroll through there, see what people are asking, but answer questions. Take the frequently asked questions you get from sales calls and clients, turn those into content on your website, turn those into video content and embed them back on your website. All these different things you can do.
All right. That's another one I think I'm going to implement too, because we don't have like a question, but just a simple FAQ, section. Yeah, because there are things that I think our office gets asked all the time. And,
Everybody, yeah.
even though the our office people are not window cleaners, they're they're an admin. They pretty much know now because they've answered the question so many times.
Yeah.
So rather than that, just have that in, and then now, like you said, it becomes a value, and maybe even like you said, a section. Is there a question here that we didn't answer? Ask it here, and we'll see if we can add it on. And then you get.
I love that idea. We've never done that. I like that idea a lot.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a sales page as well as an SEO tool.
Yeah. But just about this place. So part of the thing with Into the Flow is we do kind of a mentorship thing. It's unofficial, but a lot of our longtime, people who've been window cleaners, we just take on people who are starting up, and we help them, mentor them through their transition as in growth as a business window cleaners.
Amazing.
So part of that is looking over their website. Hey, how's it look? What kind of changes? I can't tell you how many times someone will message me on Instagram and say, hey, can you help me out with my web? And I don't even know where they're working. I have zero clue. Sometimes I'll get a clue from their area code on their phone number. But I mean, I know a lot of people who, are here in Tucson. They don't have a Tucson area code. It's all over the place. So that's funny how that is such a simple thing. But if you're looking for a window cleaner and you can't for sure know that they're in your area, you're just going to go on to the next one. You're not going to do an investigative search to find out for sure if they service, your town.
Exactly.
So make it as easy as you can for the customers to know the areas that you service, so that they don't go to the next guy because they weren't 100% sure that you would even come to their house.
Exactly. And people are pretty hesitant to pick up the phone nowadays, right? And so if they have any friction, they're going to go to the next one that they know they can get an answer.
Absolutely. And we have we use a software called Responsibid, so we do a lot of our quotes are online. And if we ever have any issues with it, it's very rare. We're very happy with the software, but once in a while there'll be a hiccup or whatever. We lose customers if they are entering stuff in and they don't get the answers right then. They're gone. They're off to somewhere else. So it just really shows you have, once you have the customer's attention, you've got to make every second count on that. And so the easier you make it for them to access the information they're looking for, the higher the probability that they're going to become your customer, at the end of it.
Definitely. Yeah. The least friction you can do for Google and for the client, it's kind of that balance, right? We want Google to know everything. We want the client to know everything. Yes.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, all right. Well, we've hit SEO website pretty hot and heavy. So I really appreciate you talking about that. That's a lot of that stuff is things that we can use now. Just to get back into your story and what you do. So you're an author. So you've written. Can you tell us a little bit about the book? I think it's pretty cool. If you first of all, just go to lewisvanderkirk.com. You see everything that he has, but he's written a children's book. Could you tell a little bit about how that came about and why that was something that you wanted to do?
Yeah. So ever since I was in mechanical engineering, like going through school for that, you have all these ideas. I've always had these ideas of things I wanted to invent, and so you kind of look at them. And then when I became a father, I was like, man, I've missed the mark here. I don't need to invent anything. I just need to capture this captive audience of parents that are just ready to spend any amount of money to solve their problems, right? So I was always, from that point on, I was like, how can I do something to break into the kids market, to the family market? I kind of shelved that idea, went on, started the business, was really busy with that. Then last summer, last year I said I wanted to write a book. I didn't really know what it was about. I knew it was possible. I knew it wasn't the most insurmountable task. And so it got to September and I hadn't started the book. And I was like, what am I going to do? And I had the idea. I was out with the kids playing in the backyard. And I was like, I could write a kid's book and tie that into our business branding. And then it's this beautiful symbiosis of everything. So from there on, kind of whittled it down to an ABC book, blue collar ABCs. We'll have a trade, a tool, a vehicle, and we'll tie that all in. Every page has one of those things. And then it was over bath times talking with her oldest. What's something that starts with a T? What's a truck that starts with a T? What's a truck that starts with an S? And he came up with a lot of the things that you see in the book. Nice. And then it's taking it to our graphics team here in the marketing agency. And they worked overtime to design each one of those pictures for the book and pull it together. It was a lot of fun, really rewarding, and it's been really well received.
Nice. Now, the reason why I really like this, I think what it shows is you don't have to just do one thing, right? If you have a creative side, it's okay to explore it, and it's also okay to mix it. Like, just for instance, I'm wearing this shirt here, so I'll get up here. So this was a design from a Flowmy, Anthony Padlow. So as you can see, it's got a squeegee and it's got a washer on here. So he came up with a website. I know he's kind of backed off on it a little bit recently. I think he's trying to find a decent printer. But I loved because he came out with a whole bunch of different styles and for t-shirts. But it incorporates his he's a window cleaner. He's been a window cleaner for decades. He's very experienced. But he also has this really cool creative side. And he was able to come up with the small business that mixed those two together. And I think that kind of synergy of those ideas is just kind of a neat thing that gives you an outlet, but it also can be profitable too,
That's funny. So I missed a part of the inspiration actually in the story, and you brought it back together. Yeah. So I got it. She's not a client, but she's in the junk removal space. She made a coloring book for her junk removal business. She has a dog as her mascot, and she did a coloring book that was kind of themed for junk removal. She got a guy off Fiverr to do it. Put it together. She gave him the kind of the images she wanted. He drew it out, and so I bought this for our kids, and I was like, man. And I think that was kind of actually the seed. Now that I think of it, where it came together. So Michelle Hill, in the junk removal space, is what brought that together. So you could do that as a window cleaner. You could have a coloring book. There's so many different creative ideas and ways that you can kind of work your way into the community as well.
Now on Fiverr, did they do so? They drew the images for the book, and then she made it, or did they do the print?
I think she got someone on Fiverr to do the images, someone else to do put the book together, and then she just put it up on Amazon. That's what I did as well. I published through Amazon, so it's not a complicated process.
Nice. Very cool. All right. Well, I just Flowmies, if you get a chance, just go to his website. So lewisvandervalk.com. He's got this on here, but the last thing I wanted to hit on, which I think is a very good asset to us as window cleaners as well, is you do also have a podcast. What is the name of it again?
It's the Blue Crocus Experience. So our business is Blue Crocus Solutions, and I was like, I'm going to be Joe Rogan, so I'll call it the Blue Crocus Experience. After the Joe Rogan experience. So I just went with it. I've interviewed a wide range of business owners, from Tommy Mello to authors to some guys in the health space. Really, really interesting people I've had on there.
Yeah, I got to listen to a few of them. The gentleman, I can't remember his name, I'm trying to find it here, who had overcome his addiction to drugs. His more recent one. Boy, that was an intense one.
Yeah.
And what I appreciate about you, and I try to do this as much as I can, is you do allow them to tell their story. Sometimes you listen to some podcasts and they've already kind of got their own agenda in mind as to how it's going to go. And I really like your approach in your interviewing style, because that's kind of how I try. I try to keep it as organic as possible. We have a few ideas that we want to share, but if my interviewee has something passionate they want to talk about, you just let them go.
Follow the energy, right?
Oh, and just, yeah, some of the interviews here, but not only just your podcast, which I recommend people, small business owners subscribe to, but you also you've been on a bunch of podcasts, and so you have some that are on here. Some of them I've listened to before, not with your interview, but I'm familiar, like the Home Service Business Owner podcast, really good one. But a lot of times we're looking for something to listen to when we're working, right? And something that's going to help build it. So you have a list of ones that you've personally been interviewed on. That's kind of a who's who of really great business podcasts that you can listen to that's going to help your business.
Yeah, I mean, I've been really lucky. I started the podcast as a networking thing, to be honest. And it was a way to get an hour of someone's time. Tommy Mello is someone in the home service space, the Home Service Millionaire. Recommend that book to anybody in any industry. He's in the garage door industry, but he's phenomenal marketer mind. Tommy Mello is a great one. There's that's the one that popped into my head right now. But yeah, there's a few phenomenal ones.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all part of the message of education. Is just, we all have a lot of experience in different areas, but we don't have all the experience.
Never.
So being able to talk with people going through different things, different experiences, you can kind of pick up little tidbits here and there.
We don't have a long enough life to make all the mistakes to learn all the lessons.
That's right. Well, anything else that you want to promote before we sign off here, Lewis?
No, I think, yeah. I mean, we've got a group. It's primarily junk removal business owners, but I'm very avidly teaching people SEO. So you can jump in if you're not a junk removal business owner as well. It's called Junk Removal Marketing Success Community. I just rebranded it from Contractor Growth Tips. So I'm kind of really focusing on junk removal, but anybody can benefit from it, and we will work with anybody. We're just doing a lot of our outbound marketing to junk removal specifically. But yeah, dropping lots of tips in there. If anybody wants to jump in, we'd love to help.
Yeah, well, everything that you mentioned in here in this interview is going to be very helpful to small business owners. So thank you so much for being so generous with your time. I look forward to continuing following your story and your growth as well. And certainly is an inspiration for guys like us that are just trying to get to the next level, and oh, one other thing I just want to mention, I do also appreciate your balance, because this came across in the podcast as well. Just making sure that your family is always an important thing, and that it's one thing to grow, but if that's your only focus, you're missing out on the importance of what your business, form your business is for. So
yeah, there's a couple books I'd recommend on that topic. One of them is The E-Myth, if you haven't read that.
No.
And then, so The E-Myth is the entrepreneur myth. We all get into it to be our own boss, and we end up, harnessing ourselves to a 100-hour work week and hating our lives eventually, all with the, hey, I'm my own boss. It's so good, right?
Yeah.
So The E-Myth by Michael Gerber is phenomenal. This is another book that I just picked up and read last week. It's called The Perfect Week Formula. And basically it's build your business around your life, not your life around your business.
Nice.
I fell prey to this the first 3 years of my business. It was my boss. And so now I'm like, okay, I started this for the family. That was my North Star when I started it.
Yeah.
Bring it back to the North Star. And let's figure out how we can make that work.
And that's so easy to do, because, and it's not even necessarily you're doing it just because you have dollar signs in your eyes. It's just, there's so much to be done when you start a business, and so many things.
And as men, especially, I saw it in my dad. I mean, I think women get the same thing, when they latch onto it, but I'm a man, so I speak from that perspective. We have a sense like I'm the provider for our house. My wife is a full-time domestic engineer, right? So it's we've got to make it work. We've got to bring in the dough. We've got to put food on the table, and we've got to, a lot of our output when we start is related to how hard we work.
Yeah.
Because we don't have systems in place. So it's, yeah, you got to take action at the beginning, but then you got to transition into let's have systems and team in place to make it so we all have a life too.
For sure, absolutely. And what good is it to get all of this money and all of this accolades, and then you end up losing your family in the process, so
See a lot of it happen. Yeah.
and at least you don't want that to be the reason why. You definitely want to make sure that you keep it in place. But I just thank you again for your time. You just have a lot of really good stuff for us to think about, and wish you well. Thanks again, Lewis. It was good talking with you and getting to know you, and I'll definitely join that group as well.
Likewise, Gabe, appreciate the opportunity, and glad we could make this happen.
And thank you for listening, Flowmies. Please be sure to bookmark this one. A lot of good stuff for your SEO website stuff. Make those changes right away. Thank you again. You guys have a great week, and as always, flow on.